Alright, so this piece right here goes all the way down to there and it blows it into the front, which is good. So I just got to connect that to this right here, which is where it was connected before. This is going to be straightened out and moved over closer. And then I move over closer, closer over, and I have more pipe here, but that's part of the chimney. However, I don't know if I'm gonna, no, that's not it. Anyway, I got another piece of pipe over there to bring me up to there, and it has an elbow on it. So I gotta figure out where the hell I put the elbow though. Anyhow, I may get double wall for the whole chimney. Even though once it's up here, well, it gets hot, but I don't really think I'm gonna need it because I didn't need it last time. But it's not gonna hurt. Safety first. Let me get this on here. So anyway, drop that on the floor. Drop. Okay. It's just a way of somebody telling me that I need to drop a few pounds. So somebody's helping me lose weight here. Okay. Alright. Alright. So what I need, well, hold on, let me get rid of this wood and everything that I just picked up in my hand in the middle of talking to you guys. You guys are probably used to me by now. Alright, anyway. I bought those fans. I do have a few already, but I bought the box of 5. Steve Robs had bought a couple. And I said, you know what, those look like they may work. They're 12 volt. And they had the right size and the right what the hell they call it, CMF, whatever it is. So, what I'm going to do is tack up a 12 volt wire all the way down, and I got to put one in the end down there that'll blow in. This gets hot, so I can put one kind of blowing across and down over it a little bit. And then I'm going to put another one over here on the chimney blowing out. And then I'm going to bring this out, that one out, and I'll probably, I'll probably bring it out to here, because you got to remember this is going to be over there, so I can come right out here. And then at that point, I just put a little, I don't know if I want to put a T or not. Yeah, I guess I can get away with a T. Sometimes the T will slow it down because it hits boom. Or if I can get more of a Y, it'll be better. I don't know if they make a Y. Anyhow, and that's going to come out, and that'll go this way and that way. And I got to call the company up and find out more about this. I think it was just the guys that came out here to fill it. It turns on, the compressor's not kicking on. It's almost like it's got a bad wire or something. So I'm going to check that because I got the voltage right there. There's 220 coming into that. So I got 220 coming out of it going into that outside here with one of those puller breakers. You know, you just pull out the whole unit and you turn it upside down. Because right now the fan is working, everything is working, it's blowing air, but it's not blowing cold air. The compressor's not kicking on. What do I have this on? Do I have it on fan or do I have it on what? I don't even know what I have it on. Oh, I have it on fan. Okay. So they work good. I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened. Let me turn it off. They give you like 25 feet of copper, you know, for the from the yeah, to the gizmo. So they tell you can cut it, but you don't want to cut it too short, because if you do, it'll make a noise. It'll make it noisy. So I did. I cut it. It could be a little too short, because when you turn it on, you do hear it, but you don't, if you know what I mean. I'm going to turn this off for now. Anyway, the flanging tool, I don't think I flanged the new piece when I cut it. I don't think I flanged it all the way. So I don't have a good connection, because I didn't get a good flange. So it leaks. Now, does it leak a lot? No. I think in 3 or 4 years since I've had it up, we filled it. Well, this last time was supposed to be twice. I don't think he put enough in it. That's why the compressor didn't kick on. Because they're not used to these new units. You know, they're old school, and they're used to the old systems. They're not used to this new stuff. And they keep saying, well, why don't you just get another one? Why don't you just get a heater? Why don't you just get, you know, an in-wall air conditioner, compressor, you know, with a heat pump, you know, which they have. We had them in our condo. The condo had electric heat, which was fine, but under the main windows in the living room and in the bedroom, they had the boxes, you know, under the window for the slide-in air conditioners, and the air conditioners weren't in. So a friend of mine owns, well, he owned at the time, I don't know if he still owns it, I don't even know if he's still alive, owned an appliance shop, and he says, well, if you want, I can get you a couple of units that'll fit right in there. You know, they're basically a window unit. He says, you slide it right in. He says, and I can get it with a heat pump, so you can do heat and air. I says, well, that'll probably be pretty decent, because, you know, I can use it for heat, you know, in the fall and in the spring, so we're not kicking on the electric heat, because they're a little bit more efficient than the electric heat. So we did. Now, I could have done that, but I didn't want to cut a big hole in the wall, and for that, all I had to do was drill a 3-inch hole and put it up on there, where if I put in a split unit, I guess I could have stuck it in a window. Well, not a split unit, but you know what I mean. Alright, this is going to be one of those bullshit videos, guys. Bud had surgery this morning, and what I mean by that, they put a drain in his cheek because of his ear. I think I showed you a video or a picture of the swelling under his right ear over here, down here, about 7 or 8 months ago. Well, when we first got him, he had a little lump there, about the size of a golf ball, maybe, or a large marble. It grew to about the size of a golf ball, and we took him to the vet, and they said, no, he's got an ear infection. So they gave him a shot of steroids and some medicated ear drops, and it went down, and then it started coming back, like within 2 or 3 weeks. So we went back again, and then he said, well, you know, it's a possibility, because of all the polyps in his ears are almost closed up, that this is going to continue to happen, because it's a perfect breeding ground, which it is. You know, if he's not getting air in there like he should, and moisture builds up, it's warm, it's dark, it's a perfect breeding ground for germ, you know, bacteria. So at that point, he gave him another shot of steroids, and he gave us a 60 refill on eardrops. We dropped them every night for, I think it was 2 weeks, and then we backed down to every other day. But now what happened was, when the swelling came back 7 months later, it came up down here more. So apparently the eardrops weren't going all the way down into wherever, and he started getting a little blow up down here. Well, it got big. So the vet said, listen, you know, I know you don't want to, and we didn't, but they should just take out the whole ear canal, you know, the whole inner ear. He'll still have the ear outside, you know, but the inside won't be there anymore. He says, and that'll take away any place for the bacteria to grow, blah, 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 blah. And because he's going to lose his hearing anyway over time, so, and he can't hear very well already. So we decided, okay, let's just have that done. And then he said, well, he says, I got to get a hold of the specialist and find out when he can get down here, which was okay. You know, it doesn't bother us. Have a specialist do it. Excuse me. And I'm shutting down only because I'm going in. I'm tired today. Between my back keeping me up all night and then Bud keeping me up all night, you know, because I wanted to keep an eye on him, and I wanted to keep a warm, moist compress on his swelling, because it actually went through, it broke through, the abscess broke through the skin, so he was dripping and, you know, bleeding a little bit, so I wanted to make sure I kept an eye on it. So, but anyway, so he went in at 7:30 this morning, and they put another drain in, and they took everything out that they were able to get, you know, when they opened them up, and they said there was a lot of pus and stuff in there. So there's a drain, and within the next couple weeks, they're going to, hey little birdies, I know, I don't have anything to throw out to you. See him out there? He's waiting for me to throw stuff out to him. They're all lining up on the fence. All I got are dog bones. You want a couple of those? Let me see. You're going to have to pick them apart, guys. Now, he still has the other ear, which he can hear in, but again, it's not good because both ears are the same with those little polyps. And I really don't know the reasoning behind it. Is it part of his breed? Is it because of you know, his conditions that he was living in? Well, he was inside 99% of his life, so it wasn't like he was tied up outside or anything. But you know, and then Jem always licked his ears, you know, and that makes it worse. So we finally got her to slow down on that, you know, because every time we see her, you know, Jem, and she stops. So now we watch, because she'll look around before she goes to lick, and we watch her, and then she starts to lick, and she doesn't see us, and then we say, Jem, you know, so it's almost like the word is telling her, stop. You know? So definitely getting better. Okay, there they are. Oh, you can't see them. They're all coming in now to eat the little dog bones, the dog treats, those hard biscuit bones. Just that they're hard. These guys are little guys. I don't know. I'm sure they can pick it apart. So, I know what I'm going to do. Wait a minute. Are we recording? Yeah. Sorry, guys. I don't want to scare them away. I know what I'm going to do. Take these here. Put this over here. See, they sit out there and they watch me walk around in here and do things. But if I go to walk out there, it's a different story. it's clean enough. I mean, it's washed, so. So if the birds start to bark, you'll know why. One hell of a drumstick, huh? There we go. Now we're getting there. Now we're getting there. Let's pile it up a little bit more. Put that big one in there. At least get them down to a size that they can take with them if they have to, and then chew on it. Threw out some dog food, dry food the other day. That was this morning actually, and they did eat it. I got to get up to Tractor Supply and pick up a few £100 because spring or fall is coming and they're going to be wanting food pretty soon. There, guys. Guaranteed they're flying in behind me. Yeah, they're there already. Yeah. I keep a box of these out here because when they come out, they want to lay out here with me for a few minutes. They'll eat half a dozen, and then they run in the house. And bother Darlene for another half a dozen. Now I got things I can be doing in the house. Nobletech, which makes one hell of a software navigation program that I used to have on my boat. I mentioned that to you a few times, and I used to use it as well for teaching navigation because it's a program that you can tie up. Well, it's made to tie up to your computer, you know, and most of your larger boats have computers on board nowadays. I mean, they make these little computers like this, you know, and then they have the bigger ones. I had a 15-inch laptop on board, even though I had it down in the aft cabin, the guest quarters. I had a 20-wire trunk coming up to the helm, and up there I had a 15-inch monitor. I had the 10-inch GPS chart plotter. I had a wireless mouse, which was fine, and I had a small wireless keyboard, which I have one here. So I had the program, which was great because I was able to boom, 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 boom. I drop it onto an SD card, plug the SD card into the chart plotter, and it made it a lot easier to program your routes and waypoints than it was to just do it with the chart plotter. And the chart plotter worked out fine, especially the standard. They were great. You just take your little joystick, move it to where you want to put your waypoint. Once it's there, hit enter, and then move it to the next one, hit enter, next one, enter, and it just puts your route together. At the end, you just name your route. You can name each waypoint if you want to. It made it a lot easier to put in a route than it did the Garmin. Garmin was a little bit of a pain in the ass. They may have gotten smarter now, I don't know. But at that point, Garmin used to be good, but they're not as good as they used to be. In my opinion, anyway. With some of their navigation stuff. They came out with a radar that was like, I was a little meh, but I'll tell you what, I ended up buying. Most of your radar dishes look like, well, if you see a radar on a big ship, you'll see the bar. You see the whole bar turning in circles. You know what I'm talking about? You'll have a bar on top of a pedestal or turn of such, and it just keeps turning. Well, if you see a radar on a boat that has the smaller boats, they have the dome. Well, inside that dome, there's a small bar, so to speak, that's flat. It's the antenna, and it turns just like with this other one as you're seeing outside, but it turns inside. So, you know, it's the same, just a little bit different as far as how it's designed. Well, when Garmin came out with one, I was surprised. I was thinking, well, is that going to even work? And then the more you think about it, the more you start thinking, well, you know what? Yeah, it is going to work. And what it did was, if I can find something here that I can bend, I will show you. Okay, I can use this, I guess. Now, if this is the bar, I mean, it's a lot higher. So picture this being smaller, shorter, and being inside the dome. This is in there turning around like this. That's what it's doing. And as it's doing it, it's transmitting and receiving. And that's what's happening. If it's, like I say, the bigger boat, then you see a big thing sitting on top on a pedestal, and that's turning. So same thing. Well, what Garmin did was, inside the dome, that flat piece that turns, the antenna, they did this to it. By doing that, it made it more directional. Now, it's turning anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. But it was more like this than this. So now, if you see two vessels out there, and let's just say that you're 4 or 5 miles away, and these two vessels are kind of close to one another, we'll say, I don't know, 400 or 500 yards, they're going to look like one because of this is picking it up. Where with the Garmin, because it's like this, because this is like that, you're going to see them both. It has a little bit better separation. So as it scans, it's scanning, it comes by this one and catches it, and then it's out of the way from that one by the time it picks this one up. Where if it was just a flat one, as it scans, it picks this one up, but it doesn't get rid of that one by the time this one comes in, because it's picking up both of them at the same time. And depending upon how it's coming back and how close these are, these start looking as one. And so the antenna system that they came out with was definitely a good system. So I did change over to that. I used to run the Raytheon. I thought Raytheon was a good system, which it is. You know, commercial-wise, I would probably go with a Raytheon. I mean, even though our boat was, I think it was 54 feet overall, you know, the Garmin did just fine, you know. And I had the Raytheon up there at one time. Not the big one, you know, it was in the dome, but it was in it, I don't know, the dome was, I don't know, 26 inches, 24 inches, something like that. And then naturally the power has a lot to do with it. But the Garmin was smaller. So sometimes you think bigger is better, so you have that mentality, and Garmin, but they made a good choice with that one. And then they started adding too many things together, onto one screen, where if you lose that one screen, you lose everything. But they had it set up with a hub, so you can start plugging in all the attachments into the hub. Well, like I say, if you lose the screen, you lose everything. One screen is nice, but if you look on these bigger ships, they have a lot of redundancy, and everything has its own screen. They may have a one screen thing someplace, but most of the time with that, they have all their separate screens and hookups, because they don't want to rely on just one thing. And I don't need it. If I'm out there, the wife and I used to do a lot of traveling. We've been up to, up Boston and Plymouth, and up to Hudson and down Atlantic City and Chesapeake. We traveled. Narragansett, both passages. We go up the east and come down the west. Actually, there used to be a marina up there. I forgot the name of the town, but we went up there and we stayed there for a weekend. It was a quiet little town. You really didn't even have a cab service there. We wanted to go out for dinner. So the marina said, well, so-and-so is a good place. That's where you want to go. That's where everybody goes, the locals. It's the spot. Well, there wasn't many spots to start with, so that's probably why. So anyway, I said, all right. I says, well, how do we get there? Is there a cab that we can call? Can you call a cab? What do we do? Well, I'm getting off from work, so if you want, I can give you a ride up there. Oh, all right. So we didn't even think about how we're going to get back. We're thinking of cab. Well, dinner's done, and we're getting ready to come back, and we talked to the waiter, and we said, how's chances of, giving us the number for a cab, or calling the cab for a cab? We don't have any cabs here. The town was so small, it didn't even have a taxi service. I said, well, Jesus, we're like 6-7 miles away from the boat, I said, so, So he said, well, one of the waitresses are going home. And she kind of goes by that, but, it's out of her way a little bit. So we said, well, if she wants to give us a ride, we got to get back to the boat. We'll pay her if it was a cab or something. So, we gave her $25. So, it was more than anything she was going to get for a ride. Yeah. But like I said, we used to do a lot of traveling. We would think nothing of, an hour and a quarter to go over to Port Jeff to get a cheeseburger, and hang out there for a couple hours and then come back, and you're talking 2.5 hour, plus your time there, plus you have to pay to grab a ball or to dock, and then if you grab a ball, you gotta get the water taxi to bring you in, but again, I haven't really met any assholes. Everybody's always good people, which puts you in a good mood, which makes you a good people. You follow me? So, sometimes your attitude can ruin somebody's day or make them something that they're not. So, that's why you try to treat everybody right. But, and then we would go to Little Italy, New York. And so, Friday afternoon, I said, what do you say we go down to New York? So, the city. So we go down the East River, come around up the Hudson, say hi to the Statue of Liberty, come up to Chelsea Pier, grab a slip for a couple nights and take a cab into Little Italy for dinner, and, then take the cab back, or walk around Chinatown, because Chinatown and Little Italy are right there with one another, you know. So you walk around Chinatown a little bit. She bought a couple of jade, how was it, necklace and earrings, or was it necklace and bracelets? We went into one of these Chinatown jewelry stores, and they had a couple of nice, and it was real jade, so you don't mind, you can tell. So she seen, I think it was a necklace and a bracelet to match. We had our sister and our brother-in-law with us, so yeah, because if we weren't spending the night, we were just going down for dinner, and then we were going to be coming back. You know, so that was a whole day excursion, because it took you 3 hours to get there, you know, and then another 3 hours to get back. You know, so, and then you're there for 2, 3, 4 hours, you know, but, you know, what are you going to do? You know, you want to enjoy it. All right, I'm going to get my other computer, because we're talking about Nobletech, and I have it in the other computer, but I haven't installed it yet, so I'm going to install that, and then maybe I can give you a rundown on how it works and what it does. And if you have a boat to where you need waypoints and navigation and to know where you are, it's something you may want. If you got a smaller boat, well, you should have a GPS on board. It doesn't necessarily have to be a chart plotter, but it'd be nice to have a handheld GPS on board and a handheld radio. Don't count on your cell phone. So, handheld radio, make sure it's charged, and handheld GPS, again, make sure it's charged. GPS and radio without batteries, it's not a good thing. Buy a little Pelican float case. They're waterproof. You can put a spare set of batteries before you leave the dock, or you can charge it right off a lighter plug. Charge them both up or plug them into the lighter plug, because they make adapters, so you can run right off the lighter plug and you don't have to worry about it. So, you know, if you need to know your location, especially if you're on a big area like, well, even like Valerie. They're out there on, I think, Lake Ann. That's not a small lake. You get somebody out there and you say, well, where are you? You know, and if you don't have something to give them, you know, they're going to be running back and forth trying to figure out where the hell you are. You know, so it's a good idea to have. And maybe a couple of flares. I mean, if you're out there at night, but even during the day, a flare will show up if need be. So, all right, let me do what I got to do, because I got to close this down. I'm going to bring this in the house and set up, and it's probably getting close to, well, it's only 2 o'clock, but you know what? I feel like it's 5 o'clock. Like I said, I didn't get much sleep last night. All right, so let me, I'm going to do something over here. I forgot what the hell it was.